Mr. Frederick here again. We're ready for page 4 of our midterm review SAT questions. So 18 through 23. All right, so number 18. Now I apologize to number 18. For some reason when I transferred it, it didn't come through that this is line L. But I guess you guys all hopefully figure that out. This is line L. And it says, which one of these is the equation for line L? The way I did this was by looking at it, I wrote it in slope-intercept form. All right, so I think the first thing, the easiest thing to see is the y-intercept. What is the y-intercept? It's 0, -4. So I know b is going to become -4. And what is the slope? Just by counting, what is the slope? It's actually -1 because if you go up 1, left 1, that's actually going to be a -1 slope. All right, so y equals -x minus 4. But when I look at my answer choices, do you see that as an answer choice? No, it's in standard form. So all you have to do to make the standard form is move the -x to be on the other side, where it becomes a +x. And you'll see the answer then is C. What I've noticed in doing these questions is there's a pretty good amount about standard form for the linear equation. All right, ax plus by equals c. All right, don't confuse that with standard form for the quadratic, which is ax squared plus bx plus c. A lot of standard forms. Let's keep going. Number 19. Now, there's a couple of ways to do number 19. I'm going to show you the way I think most students will do this. I think most students will distribute the 4n and the n plus 8 and get 4n squared. Come on. Plus 32n equals 36. All right, and then I notice that this is a quadratic, and it has 3 terms, but the 36 is not on the same side. So if I move the 36 to be with the other 2 terms, it becomes -36. And now what does that look like? Looks like a quadratic trinomial. And it says to find this 2 solutions. So that means I have 3 ways to do it. What are my 3 ways? Factor, complete the square, quadratic formula. You know which one I'm going to try first? Factoring, always factoring. I notice that if I look at the 4, the 32, and the 36, those all can be divided by 4. So I'm going to take out the 4 and leave me with n squared plus 8n minus 9 equals 0. I showed this a couple SAT practices ago, that if you have a number in front that doesn't have a variable with it, does it matter? Does it come into play? No. So I can show you the work, but you're going to divide both sides by 4, and it's gone. So n squared plus 8n minus 9 equals 0 is what I'm trying to solve. So if I factor, I need a times c and b. What is a times c? -9. What is b? 8. So what 2 numbers multiply to give you -9 and add to give you 8? Those do not multiply to give you -9. Did you say it, Magda? What did you say? That's right, -1 and +9, because -1 times 9 is -9, and -1 plus 9 is +8. All right, so to write those factors, you write n minus 1 times n plus 9 equals 0. All right, I know it's been a few weeks since we've done this, maybe a month. So you write n minus 1 equals 0, n plus 9 equals 0. So my solutions are +1 and -9. Okay, but again, because the SAT, you know by now, they want to make it your life harder. It says, hey, do this, even though no mathematicians would ever do this. Find the product of those 2 solutions. So product means to multiply them. So what is 1 times -9? -9. Questions on 19? Okay. Let's keep going. Don't worry, I'm going to post this very soon. So if you don't have it written down, it'll be on Classroom. You can take a look. Okay, number 20 says we have a function, f of x. What do you notice about this function? Slope intercept, which means it's a line. It's a line, okay? So we'll make sure we're all good there. All right, it's been a while since we've done lines. It says there's another function, g of x, that's perpendicular to this line. Immediately, you should be thinking about what about perpendicular lines? Opposite reciprocal slopes, right? That last word's important. Opposite reciprocal slopes. That's exactly right. So immediately, I haven't done anything, but I notice this slope is 2. So what's going to be the slope for g of x? Negative 1 over 2. All right, so I'm going to write that down. G of x equals negative 1 over 2x. There's my slope for that one. Was there a question 1? I'm sorry. No, okay. Then it also tells me that there's a point that lies on g of x. So I could write, remember Fernanda helped us with this on the last one, but if we wrote plus b, you could plug in 0 for x and 4 for y. Remember, g of x is just another way of writing y. You can solve for b, but I'm not going to do that because what is 0, 4? It's the y-intercept. Thanks, SAT. So you just write plus 4 and you've got it. Now, there are a couple ways to go on this problem from here. You've got f of x. You've got g of x. You could sketch it if you wanted to find out where they intersect. You know I'm not going to do that. It's not giving me any type of grid. So if they intersect, what do you know about these functions when they intersect? What does that mean when they intersect? They're the same x and y. So the functions are equal to each other at that x and y. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set these two functions equal to each other because that x value will be the x value of the intersection point. All right, so I just set f of x and g of x equal to each other to find the x value where they are the same. Okay? Now, it's your preference on how you want to do this. I'm going to move this negative 1/2 to the other side. Sorry, I should say it again. Negative 1/2 x to the other side by adding 1/2 x, which gives me 2.5 x. Pause here. Everybody okay with that? I know I just went from fractions to decimals. Okay? And I'm going to move this -1 over by adding 1 to get 2.5 x equals 5. So what is x equal to? It's 2. Now, if you look in your answers, you'll notice there's only one answer that has an x as 2. So you know the answer has to be C. All right, but I want to show you, just because we're more about just the SAT in this class, that if you wanted to find the y, pick either function. I'll pick f of x and plug it in. So f of 2 equals 2 times 2 minus 1. So what is f of 2 equal to? 4 minus 1 is 3. So the ordered pair is 2, 3. That's where they intersect. Questions on 20. All right, let's keep doing it. 21. Ooh, parabolas, what we've been doing, right? Okay, so 21. Which of the following could define this function f of x? Now, what do you notice about this vertex? It's on what? It's on the y-axis, so it's going to be 0 something. Do I know what it is? No, but when I look at my answer choices, I'm thinking it's probably going to be 0, 4, because 4 is the only other number I see. Okay? So you can view this in many different ways. Most students are probably, that I'm teaching, would see C and D in what form? In vertex form. What's the vertex for function C? 4, 0. And what about the vertex for D? Negative 4, 0. Is that my vertex? Is that the vertex I want? No, so it's not C or D. So the question is it A or B? It's going to be A, all right, because this 4 is actually the K value if you're thinking in terms of vertex form. But if you're thinking of standard form, then 4 is C, which is the y-intercept, 0, 4. Okay, this problem reminds me a whole lot of the honors questions, problem number 1. Remember that problem you did for the honors questions? Reminds me a lot of that. Right? Some of you haven't done it yet. Let's keep going. Oh my gosh, absolute value is back. Oh my gosh. Okay, we have an absolute value inequality. Let's see how your brain does. Woo! Is the absolute value isolated? Is there anything in front of it or anything behind it? No, so it's isolated. So then I see this symbol. Oh man, less than symbol, less than symbol, less than symbol. And, all right, and you know, maybe you don't know, but from teaching you, I'm going to write down on the right side where I don't change anything. See how that's exactly the same? But on the left side, I'm going to write the other inequality symbol, and I'm going to write down the opposite of that one. And it's been a long time since we've done that, probably September, October. That's a long time. All right, so if you solve both of these, you get y is greater than or equal to 4, you read, and y is less than or equal to 6. So what value of y is going to satisfy this inequality? Most students are going to write greater than 4 but less than 6. All right, I think even my 4-year-old would know that. Okay, 5. All right, but what are some other numbers that would work? 6, 4.5, 5.5, 4.1, right? So don't limit yourself, right? Get creative. All right, but this is a bubble-in one, so the most efficient ones would be 4, 5, or 6. All right, I know that that's been a while, so I put it on there for a reason. Right? Why would I put it on the review?
So I mean, we can put 4 or 6 potentially?
This is a bubble-in one, so 5 would work, 4 would work, 6 would work. There's actually infinite numbers that would work. 4.123 would work. Right? You can't do all of them because you run out of spaces, but 4.999 would work. That, again, don't waste your time, right? Put 4, 5, or 6. That's the fastest one, and move on. Greater then. Greater. All right, the last one. 23. What value for x satisfies the equation above? So just saying solve for x. So 15x minus 6. If we distribute the 3, you get 3x plus 18. All right, I'm going to move the 3x to be with the 15x by subtracting 3x to get 12x. And then I'm going to move the minus 6 to the other side with addition of 6 to get 24. So x is equal to 2. Gotcha. All right? And this one did not say like, okay, now plug it into 2x plus 6 just for fun. So at least you can move on quickly with this one. All right, good work. That is page 4. See ya! Page 5.